I'm now going to demonstrate how to file a non-paying bidder report. You file this report when you auction an item and the high bidder never pays. When a member places a bid, they are agreeing to purchase the item at the high bid amount if they should be the winner. This is a legal contract they have agreed to both when signing up for eBay and when placing the bid. Any buyer who does not honor their obligation and does not pay within 10 days of the close of the auction should be reported. I'm already at my portal.don'tbidonit site, so I'm going to click on Seller Resources and then the Non-Paying Bidder Report link. This takes me directly to the Unpaid Item Process page at eBay. As I scroll down, I see the steps and more information on filing an unpaid item dispute. If a member purchases an item and does not pay within 10 days, you should always file this dispute. You can cancel it later if they do pay. I'm going to click on the File Unpaid Item Dispute link. This is a special page, so I'm asked to log in. This takes me to the Report an Unpaid Item Dispute page. As I scroll down, you'll see the only information needed is the item number. I'm going to type in my auction number and click Continue. The next page asks for additional information. The options are the buyer has not paid for this item or we have both agreed not to complete the transaction. A buyer and a seller can agree to cancel a transaction for any number of reasons. If both buyer and seller agree, then there is no strike given against either member. If you select buyer has not paid for an item and then later file for the final value credit fee, a strike will be given against the buyer. 3 strikes and the buyer will be kicked off of eBay. eBay does not want non-paying bidders bidding on auctions just for the thrill of bidding. The next option asks what has happened so far in the dispute. The buyer has not responded, payment has not been received, and a number of other options. I'm going to select the buyer has not responded. I would click Continue to submit this dispute. If I had not been paid, I would wait an additional 7 days, and if I still did not receive payment, I would file for my final value credit fee. Filing for the final value credit fee will refund the insertion listing for the original auction. The unpaid item dispute form must be filed within 45 days of the end of the auction. It's usually a bad idea to wait the full 45 days. If a buyer has not paid after 10 days, then it's very unlikely that they're going to pay. Filing this dispute is not the final step in the process. You must also file for a final value credit. Simply filing an unpaid item dispute does not create a strike against the non-paying buyer. It's important that you complete the process by filling out the final value credit form. You cannot fill out this form immediately. Once the unpaid item dispute is filed, you must wait 7 days before you can file for a refund. If the buyer has not paid within those 7 days, then you can file for a final value credit. This will also create a strike against the non-paying bidder. Once the non-paying bidder receives 3 strikes, that is to say, once he bids on 3 items and does not pay for 3 items, then he will be banned from eBay. 7 days after filing the non-paying bidder reminder notice, you can file for your final value credit fee. After the non-paying bidder notice has been filed, there will be an entry in your dispute console in your My eBay page. I'm already on the portal site, so I'm going to scroll down and click on My eBay. After I sign in, this will take me directly to the My eBay page. Once on the My eBay page, I'll scroll down until I see the dispute console. Under the dispute console, you'll find all of your current disputes listed. I already have one listed here. This was a failed first attempt to sell the Mike Mundy's catalog. The person who bid on this never paid. I filed a non-paying bidder notice 10 days after the auction ended because the buyer had not paid at that time. It's been 7 days since I filed that notice. I can now file for my final value credit fee. The buyer still has not paid, so I'm going to go ahead with this filing. This will recover my base listing fees for the item, plus this will give a non-paying bidder strike against this person. Once they have 3 strikes, they will no longer be able to trade on eBay. It's always important to file for a final value credit fee simply to put a stop to non-paying bidders. I'll click the option to view the details of this dispute. Click on Close Dispute. It's important that you select the correct option. The correct option is I feel I have no further option but to end communication with the buyer. This is available on the 8th day after the dispute is filed or once the buyer responds. My buyer has not responded, so I'm going to select this item. I have no final comments, and I'll click Close Dispute. This will recover my final value fees and issue the strike against this non-paying bidder. My dispute status is now closed. The dispute has been closed because you ended communication with the buyer. You'll get a final value credit fee, and the buyer will get an unpaid item strike. This buyer can still leave me feedback regarding this transaction, but it will not be counted in my feedback totals. This prevents non-paying bidders from leaving retaliatory negative feedback. Now that my dispute is closed, I can add this buyer to my block bidder list, which I've already done. I have the option to also relist the item. I've already relisted this item and sold it, so there's no need for me to do either of these at this time. As you can see in my feedback, the person who won my auction and chose not to pay left retaliatory negative feedback. Fortunately, I did file the non-paying bidder notice and the final value credit fee request, which means any feedback they left does not count in my profile.